In terms of Monaghan, though, like they obviously do go down for the first time, as we said, since 2015. And obviously their long stay, their 9-year stay in Division 1 comes to an end. But what do you think has been the overall reason for Monaghan getting relegated? Because last year, as we said, All-Ireland semi-finalists had some very good results in the championship, beating the likes of Tyrone. And this year, they beat Dublin on the opening day. And I think a lot of people maybe thought that Monaghan could, push on and maybe go for, try and get into a league final or something like that. And it's gone the complete opposite way. Like, they've been beaten comprehensively week in, week out. Obviously, this game against Tyrone was a little bit different, but overall, like, where has it gone wrong for Monaghan, do you think?
Before going to what's gone wrong, like, isn't it remarkable that me, you, and Seamus predicted that Monaghan would stay up in Division 1, and the 1 year that happens, they go down. It's yeah, it's just bait, isn't it? It really is. But in regards to what has gone wrong, I think one of a few things. Number one is, and it's not the temperament or the I would say effort, because Monaghan have that in spades and they produce it every time for their county when they go out in the field. That should be questioned. I think, first of all, it's the players that they have been missing. Rory Beggan's a huge loss going over to the States. And I know Darragh MacDonald has done well in goal and fairness them in spades in the league, but he's a huge loss, just not just on the pitch, but just a leader, all-round leader. And you look at the retirements as well over the last few seasons. Conor McManus didn't play in the first part of the league. Conor McCarthy's been in and out. Darren Hughes hasn't appeared, as far as I know, in the league either. Kieran Hughes is retired. So to lose that amount of experience and talent is going to hurt any team. So, like, that was a huge reason for Monaghan to go down. And another thing, they've been probably playing with fire for a few years now, to be honest with you, Division 1. Even as early as, I remember, 2016, they were the same number of points as Mayo and Cork on 6 points. Cork were the ones to go down because of points difference. But if you remember, Cork actually beat Mayo and Monaghan. So arguably Monaghan could have easily gone down the second season. But they stayed in the league. They stayed plugging in there. And even in 2022 against Dublin, they could have gone down that year. They should have gone down. Dean Rock scores that goal and you're thinking, okay, Monaghan are going to go down here. Jack McCarron saves them and Monaghan stay up. Last season, they could have gone down. Like, if Mayo had something to play for on the last day, they could have gone down that year too. So it's kind of a situation like, compared to, like, remember Sunderland in the Premier League? They used to be very involved in the relegation dogfight in year out. And then in 2017, they eventually went down. But then the worry, and this is a worry for Monaghan fans, in 2018, Sunderland actually went down to League One. So could we see a kind of symmetry there that Monaghan go down to Division 3? I actually don't think it'll end up that way. I think Monaghan have a very good spine there. They have good young players coming through. But it is a possibility, and Monaghan maybe have to be careful about this. Maybe, and as the commentator said there, maybe a few years in Division 2 might help them just to develop even further, like playing against lower opposition. No offence to those sides in Division 2, but it's lower opposition to the likes of Dublin, Kerry, Tyrone, Mayo. So maybe it will help Monaghan in future seasons. But in the Ulster Championship now, it'll be interesting to see how they rebound against Cavan on the first day out. We'll see how the temperament then. And Cavan don't have a league final either and have had an excellent league campaign in Division 2. So that'll be a tough game, no doubts about it. So it'll be interesting to see how Monaghan bounce back in that game in particular.
Absolutely, yeah. Like, I mean, is it the end of an era, do you think, for Monaghan? I mean, over the last 10 years or so, I think they've defied the odds on so many occasions. For such a small county with such a small population, very limited resources in comparison to many other counties, and it's obviously been discussed hugely, across the GAA world over the past couple of years. I made a video even on it myself, looking at some of Monaghan's achievements, obviously winning Ulster titles in 2013 and 2015, getting to All-Ireland semi-finals in 2018 and obviously last year as well. I mean, there's been maybe a talk about Monaghan over the last couple of years that at some point there is going to be the end of an era a little bit with Monaghan, because prior to obviously the days of winning that Ulster title in 2013 and everything else, and sort of the build up to that, Monaghan, for large parts, of probably both our lifetimes and even before that, Monaghan were a Division 3, Division 4 team. And I'm not saying they're ever going to go back down as far as that, because I do think Monaghan do have very good structures. Underage, they've been able to continuously produce players. And even some of the younger players that have come into the team this year have had a few good moments. So I don't necessarily think that will happen. But at the same time, is it the end of an era for Monaghan football, and is the days of Monaghan being what we knew them in terms of defying the odds, staying up in Division 1, competing for Ulster titles, are those days over? Maybe not permanently, but at least for another while. What do you think?
There's a possibility it is. I think if the effort is there, Romanan, I do think the players are there. That there is young players coming through the ranks. Like Conor McCarthy's still young enough. Jack McCarron still has a few years left in him. Like you still have Keelan Lavelle, who did very well the other night against Tyrone. Like there is still players there for Monaghan that they can call upon. But I think the worry for them is what will happen when Conor McManus retires. What will happen when Darren Hughes eventually retires? What will happen when the older guard starts going slowly but surely? Like it's going to be an interesting debate, and it looks like Rory Began, but it looks at age and talks in NFL that he is staying over there. Best of luck to Rory on that. And a side note, but that's a huge loss for Monaghan to have in goal as well. So there is an argument that it could stop, but I don't think it will. I think honestly this could be near the best thing that happened to Monaghan to go down, because like if you're getting pummelings at Division 1, that's not going to help you in many ways. If you go down to Division 2, gain a bit of confidence, maybe you could get results then. And look at the Ulster Championship. Like there's still a chance that Monaghan reach a semi-final. They have to play Cavan first of all, then Tyrone. And look at the Tyrone game the other night. If they get Conor McManus and Darren Hughes and all them back into the team, there's every chance that Monaghan could catch them on the hop in the Ulster quarter-final. I'm not saying they'll win the semi-final. No, they'll face Derry or Donegal the way the draw's going. But like there's always a possibility with this Monaghan side. I do think there's fire left in them. The question is, how will they recover once? Well, we'll see now. Conor McManus will probably retire in the next 1 to 2 years. There's no doubt about that. He's 36, 37 at this stage. He's going to call it quits one day, and it'll be interesting to see how Monaghan bounce back from that kind of setback. But other than that, I do think there's quality in there. I think there's temperament in there. I think Vinnie Corey's a decent coach and knows Monaghan football inside and out. So I think they'll be honestly fine. But there is an argument there that Monaghan could go back into their shell. It'll just be interesting to see, first of all, how they get on the Ulster Championship, and second of all, how they'll get on Division 2 next season.
Absolutely, yeah. You'd fancy them to come straight back up?
It's a tight one.
Because you do have the likes of Down coming up here looking very strong. Well, that's not a guarantee. Obviously, they have to play Clare next week. But even the sides who do come up from Division 2, whether it be Down, Westmeath or Clare, I think the sides coming up from Division 3 are going to be quite strong. I think Cavan are improving. I think Cork are improving. Meath are improving. So I think like with our man Donegal, I know this time last year we were talking about Donegal and saying they won't come straight back up, but then obviously Jim McGuinness was announced, and I think a lot of us said, right, Donegal and Armagh, the two front runners most certainly to come straight back up. And even the year previous with Derry and Dublin, I think a lot of people looked at them as the two significant favourites. And obviously Roscommon aren't going down just yet. They do still have a slight chance of staying up. But like I do think it will be tough for Monaghan. I do think they have enough to get back up, but I do think it'll be tough for them.
I think it will as well, but I get your point definitely on the last two seasons. Like Derry and Dublin were streets ahead of the rest. There's no doubt about it. Armagh Donegal were streets ahead of the rest this year. My worry for Monaghan, I would think, is for me, the Cork in particular, those two are and Down if they come up, that is against Clare next week. I think three of those counties in particular are sleeping giants. And you see, if they get kind of a run together, like you look at Cork in the last few games, if they get a run together, they start playing more freely and they start playing attacking football, and it's brilliant to watch. Meath the same. Like if they get players back, if they get Jordan Morris back into the team, I think they could be a force to be reckoned with. Cavan have proved that they could do fine without Conor Moyna and Garrod McKiernan, and without with Ray McGalligan still in his coach and not as a player. I think they'll be fine as well. And let's not forget Loud as well, Aaron. Like if Monaghan have to go to RD, that's not going to be an easy place to go to. And it's same applies to either Roscommon or Galway. They won't find it easy going to RD whatsoever in that game against Loud. And Loud, as we've seen in the league campaign so far, they don't lose by big margins. So Monaghan and Roscommon or Galway, if they come down, would hammer out. There's no doubt about it. And even the side coming up, Westmeath have a sturdy defence as shown this season, and Down have a brilliant attack and a brilliant coach as well in Conor Laverty and Marty Clark, obviously in and around the backroom team of Kieran Mina as well. So Down are going to be serious next season as well. I think it's going to be very competitive to see who actually stays in Division 2 next year. In terms of who goes up as well, it's going to be absolutely a bear pit. And it always is Division 2. It really is. So, yeah, I think it'll be very tight next season. But then it does depend on how Cork and Meath season, in particular, Down season, will end in the championship. If it ends on a high, then they might go into Division 2 gaining a bit of confidence. If it ends on a low, then they might go into it feeling negative about themselves. So we'll have to predict it probably next season because we don't know what will happen from here on out. But I think Monaghan, it won't be walk in the park. I'll put it that way. It won't be easy to get out of Division 2, but I think they're definitely capable with the players that they have, with the mentality that they have, the coaches and everything. I do think there's a possibility that Monaghan do go straight back up.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, let us know in the comments live or even down below what you think about Monaghan. Are they going to come straight back up, or what's your thinking on them?